All right.
He gets here. Should I just hold it?
Welcome, everybody, to the basement on Tuesday night.
Actually, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, tell them to come around back. Just text them, say, come around back. That's what everyone does. But we're not going to shh. Yeah, that's a shh.
We're on.
Wait, we're on?
Yeah, we're on the.
Welcome to Tuesday night, everybody.
the tube.
We're about to get started. We are moments away from talking about the thing that I can't stop talking about.
And thanks for coming on, guys.
Yeah, we appreciate
Oh,
you
we're
guys.
on. Never mind.
Happy Thanksgiving, pre-Thanksgiving. I hope everyone's getting ready for an awesome family long weekend.
Best holiday ever.
You guys got a lot to talk about this Thanksgiving.
Yes. All right, here we go. It always gets so silent, so quiet. Thank you for joining us on Tuesday night, 2 days before Thanksgiving. We got a lot to be thankful for in the basement this year. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, I'm Ken Marangolo, and I really am thankful for everyone joining us this evening. Thankful for Kevin Ricca.
I've never been part of a million of anything, but someone tells me there's a million different things going on about what happened with First Amendment. Sorry, what happened with Gonzaga DeMatha that we happen to be around for.
Absolutely. Thankful for Tim Strachan.
Man, the last 48 hours has been an awesome ride. It's been so much fun. Really appreciate everybody being a part of it, contributing to it, and it was great. Just the whole thing was a great thing to be a part of.
We're all very thankful that Carol Maloney even wants to be associated with us.
I told you you're stuck
God
with me
bless
now.
you.
And I just hope that I can put into words a little bit better than I did post game. I was paralyzed with shock at the end of that
Who
game.
was
Really?
it?
I did not
So
know
was
what I was saying.
I.
I was running circles
The whole
around.
time.
Still wondering what happened.
Thankful for Matt the Real Deal Seal, MCL Photo, sponsor of our pregame shows.
Thanks for having me, guys. What an event we were able to bear witness to.
There you go.
It's just something spectacular that we will never forget. Anybody who's there, anybody who's watched it, history
Hey,
is made.
I appreciate
We were lucky to be a part of it.
No doubt. And I was just going to echo your sentiments by saying, what a starting five to get to do this with. Ken Marangolo, thank you for bringing this Summer League All-Star team together.
Oh, absolutely.
That now
You are
has made
welcome.
it to the regular season, my friend.
Thank you
well
all.
done.
Thank you all.
All you guys, man.
I think the refrain has been and should be is that first of all, we all love being part of something amazing. We all love watching something amazing. Every sports fan wants to be in the front row of something awesome, which we were right on the sidelines. Which is you don't get a lot of game calls from there. I didn't throw a 70-yard pass. He didn't run a kickoff back with 15 seconds left. He didn't catch a pass in the end zone in traffic. She didn't throw laser darts all day long from either the quarterback. He didn't display one of the all-time greatest high school football games by a two-way wide receiver defensive back. Hats off to the kids at DeMatha and Gonzaga. We'll get to the final score. There was a winner. But there were no losers, and I know that's not the way it feels to some people, and I understand it, and it is real, the agony that goes with it.
It probably doesn't to the players and the coaches at DeMatha. That's a heartbreaking loss. And I wanted to make sure that people knew. You're right, Ken. Both those teams are winners. Unfortunately, the scoreboard has to choose one and not the other. But both programs displayed an incredible. It was just a great representation of who they were, the coaches and the players and the schools. And I couldn't be more proud to be a DeMatha alum, to have watched that, to see those guys play. And I went and talked to the team on Friday night. It happened when I was there. I remember being a kid sitting on my knee watching Mike Anderson come back and talk to us before, a big game before Carroll. And I said to them, as long as you can look yourself in the mirror.
Archbishop Carroll, you didn't play Carol Maloney then.
Correct.
Okay,
correct.
Sure.
As long as you can look at yourself in the mirror and at each other and say, I played the best I could possibly play, and you gave it everything you had. I don't care what's on the scoreboard, because that's the way this game's supposed to be played. And that's what they did. And they came up short on the scoreboard, and that's tough, but you guys need to hold your heads high, because that was an unbelievable display of football.
So I want to get to the game, of course, and the ending and the aftermath. But let's just, before we get too far into it, go back to this First Amendment sports deal, because I think a lot of people have been talking to us in the community and in the WCAC because we're 3 games in, right? This
Yeah.
is the production. You guys have
Rookies.
been podcasting here since 2008. You started First Amendment Sports. Ken Marangolo started it and been podcasting in this basement, covering DC like no one else. And you get this rights deal that everyone wanted. And you bring this team together, and 3 games in, it's 3 games and it goes around the world. It has gone around the world, the coverage, and it was
So on
superb.
ESPN, Australia/New Zealand.
I know.
Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
Japan.
superb. I mean, it was the game but it was you that got him there. And I don't think any of the high school coverage I've ever seen, and never been a part of anything, this well done. So I just wanted to say thanks right
Hey,
off the bat.
appreciate it. It was awesome when that's right. Part of our whole pitch the whole way through. Thank you, everybody. Everybody, seriously, sit down. All of you guys in the back, in the big rows. Everyone,
You
take
put
a
your
seat.
pants on.
Seriously.
The whole message is, by the way, there's something amazing happening, and everyone wants a teeny little part of it. But what if we all just work together?
Yeah.
And DC is a great sports town. That's what First Amendment Sports is founded on, and there's plenty of positive to focus on without even going anywhere close to anything bad. And it's a no-brainer to showcase the greatest high school sports conference in the entire world, and therefore no one's going to expect what we saw. You just can't. It's not fair. And to all you potential sponsors out there, we have never and we will never promise you that, but we can promise you people are always going to watch the WCAC, and they're always going to want to be part of it. And who better to tell the story than people who are from the conference, from the area, know the people, understand what we stand for. Shout out to Joe Rada, and we're going to our shout outs are going to be all over the place tonight, but shout out to Joe Rada, who personifies the message that the WCAC has core beliefs that come first. We stand for something, we stand for each other, and we believe that there's an amazing group, an amazing family. Coach Woolridge was on the original the show earlier this evening, the lower division or the Metro division. Everybody is part of something great, and we are just thrilled to just have like a teeny little window into it and tell the story.
What was it like for you to hear your call on all those different outlets and Good Morning America and people saying, what a great job, does God wear purple? Now it's a headline. Does God wear purple?
Is God purple?
Is God purple? We're about to find out. What was that like for you, that moment?
I didn't know I said it, so I went back after the game was over. I'll go back to the fence
Didn't
behind
know
Catholic.
You said it. Really?
I had a whole.
Come on.
No
You
one's.
sandbagging son of a-
Yes,
Come on, Kenny
seriously.
McNamara.
It
He
happened
definitely
during a
did
play.
run it by the Gonzaga. I mean, the
Yes,
St.
yes,
John's
yes.
and the DeMatha guy. That's for absolutely sure.
I go back to the fence, and Steve Bonavita and Mike Noyes and some other guys are over there, and they're like, "Hey, that thing you said about is God purple? Like everyone keeps repeating it over and over again." And I go over to Kevin, and I was like, "Hey, Kevin, I think I said like I thought we were talking over each other. We couldn't hear anything. Everyone was screaming and shouting. By the way, 2 touchdowns had just happened within the last 30 seconds. It was bedlam and chaos. The fact that the audio is that clear in those moments is miraculous. I mean, there's nothing to explain that.
Listen, and I just, I learned by watching the broadcast that I say "hey" a lot to start talking.
I say a lot,
But here's the deal,
and I
man.
don't say Will Stoney enough.
I felt like it was my Oscar moment there. We were all going around saying pleasantries, and "We Are the Champions" is in the background, and I didn't get to say anything real quick, but my grandfather covered high school sports for a local radio station. My dad did the 50-yard line. I remember walking around with him, and everyone knew my dad and came up and shook his hand. We were out of Catholic the other day. Everyone was coming up and shaking our hand. Hey, we watch the show. I mean, I was getting
Yeah.
My chest was pounding. The coolest part of my night, off of the whole amazing thing that the kids gave to us, because that's what it was, and that's why we're here, was at the bar. Ken and I went to go do a little celebrating afterwards, and there was about 4 people at Tommy Joe's.
Yep.
And Ken was very quiet, and he was beat, and he was exhausted, and I understand. And we had to hold it. But, I was feeling a little different. As you guys noticed, I was hooting and hollering. I was like, this just happened. We've got to do something. But my man is sitting at the bar, leaning forward. SportsCenter got down to the second to last play of the 10, and the number 1 play of the day happened to be the coverage
Hail Mary.
with the First Amendment Sports logo smack dab on the TV screen, and this man erupted like a volcano. We're number 1 on the blah, blah, blah. We're hugging, we're screaming.
It was
The
awesome.
4 of us at the bar did a few shots. And next thing you know, as we're coming down off our high, SVP kicks off his show with Best Thing I've Seen All Day. Money Man Matt Seal sends him the info, and all of a sudden he's leading off the show with the same thing. I was like, is this real life?
About 10 minutes of straight coverage.
It was
On ESPN, that's
it was
fantastic.
unbelievable.
Thanks,
and,
Scott.
And Kenny McNamara over here went from a 0.3 to an 11 real quick. It was awesome to watch, my friend.
It
awesome.
it was unexpected. So I'm sitting there watching the Sports Center top 10, and they don't tell you, by the way, watch Sports Center tonight because you're in the top 10. It's not like that. So I'm sitting at the bar and I'm just kind of like watching it go, and it's.
I was talking to someone else, by the way. He was by
No one-
himself.
It was only on one TV, and there's no sound, and it's Roethlisberger and Ramsey and NFL. It's NFL Sunday.
NFL Sunday.
It's NFL Sunday, and it's a girls basketball player bounces it off someone's butt and then hits a layup, and I'm like, wait a second. And then by the time we were getting down, I'm thinking there's no chance that any of these plays are better than we just saw. And when it came on, it was over. I lost it, and it was done, and it was like that until like 3 or 4 in the morning.
That's how long you
Over.
stayed out?
Yeah, shout out CJ over at 980.
Very
A good time was had by all
productive.
WCAC guys, and one guy in purple was happy to be a part of it.
Well, it was without a doubt, and I've done football for a long time, and I've watched football for a long time. It was one of the best games I've ever
Best
witnessed.
game
It's-
at any
it's-
level.
I'm
On
telling you.
any level.
Yeah. You don't have to
We
put the high
decided
school
to
in
take
front
the
of
high
it.
school
Yep.
attachment off the front of
Nope.
it because let's be honest. I'm telling you, there's going to be at least 3 to 5 guys playing for 10 years on Sunday. I'm not talking about tryouts.
Right.
Yes.
And for those of you who keep saying, there's some people out saying, wow, there's no defense. There was plenty of defense.
How about double-digit Power 5 scholarships on the
Yes.
field on both sides?
There was plenty of defense.
Come on.
There
Come
were
on.
times like Marshawn Lloyd's first touchdown run. That stop and go he had, that move. I don't know a defender at any level that can
There's
stop
no
that.
defense for
No,
that.
There isn't.
You
There
stop
isn't.
on a dime and
There
cut
isn't.
almost backwards. I mean, that was
Dejan
ferocious.
Butler
And
had a
that
similar
that
move.
just kicked off the highlights. The highlights itself in the first half, could have taken up our entire halftime
Yep.
just running them.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't ground and pound. It was plays
No,
made.
it was plays
play
made.
made,
It was
play made, play
exciting.
made, play made.
It was
Half
fun.
his quarterback played out of his mind.
Eric
Yep.
Nargerian, he
Yes.
played out of his mind. We haven't said the name yet. We've all talked about him all night long. DeMarco Hellams, who
Helms
is
was
one of the
beast.
best.
Couldn't take your eyes off him.
He's going to be the best player on most fields he
Yeah.
steps on.
And he made noise as wide receiver, but he's going as a DB. That's what's so crazy. I mean,
In 2 playoff weeks, he's got 5 touchdowns and 4 interceptions.
Yeah.
That's just, we're talking about 2 games.
It's like Sammy
playoffs,
Ball.
Yeah,
that's what
2
we got
playoff
to do,
games.
though. In the future, we got to market to, we should have sent Nick Saban the clip because he's going
Oh,
to
he's watching. But
Alabama.
you're right. But I'm sure. He watched. I guarantee you, he
probably
watched.
No, he was
Yeah.
watching.
Oh, he was watching.
But we gotta
Nick was
make sure
watching.
I
Thanks
named
for watching,
myself
Nick.
not only
Really appreciate it,
cover
bud.
and marketing director. I just named myself
Oh,
that right now.
oh no. Oh, for sure. And it actually comes. There's the dues are crazy, but don't worry about it. We can put up a plan.
Ken just walked around Kensington for about 2 years and found 4 people to come down to the
Yeah.
basement.
Yeah.
and
Yes.
do this with.
Yes. No. Everyone knows. This team is not. It's all. I mean, come on. I just want to say thank you to so many people who were watching the game at parties. In the future, if you're at a watch party, first of all, have one for us. Yeah, just load it up on your phone. Give us that extra view at the same time. Thank you so much. We were getting calls in. We heard Malcolm Johnson.
Malcolm Johnson. So Malcolm Johnson called James Matten. Thank you, Matt
Yes,
Nink,
James
for being
Matten,
a sponsor.
appreciate you.
Malcolm, a graduate of Gonzaga, went to Notre Dame, wide receiver, went to the NFL, played for
Steelers.
the Steelers. He lives out in, I believe it's L.A., definitely in California. He gave James a call and said, hey, listen, man, I got a watch party here, watching this thing. We're across the country. How did we get coverage like this? This is unbelievable. He had no idea. And so, Malcolm, if you're watching, you got to send us a pic, man. You got to show us what that watch party was like. But that
Absolutely.
was, that's really cool and shows the reach that this conference can have, the talent that it has, the amount of interest people have countrywide, worldwide, to want to know what's going on with this conference.
And
The cream of the crop.
it is the cream of the crop. It was fun to see the reaction from other guys in the league, players specifically. I'm always going to shout out my boys in Maroon and Gold because I know them and their families are watching. Talked to Quinn Osborne and Tom Collins, both who couldn't
Followed them today.
believe
Followed
what they
Quinn
were
today.
what they were witnessing. I can't believe what I'm
pleasure,
witnessing when I
young
see
man.
you guys play football. Great season. Coach Malloy and the Mustangs, always a big shout out. We talked about every team in the league on our broadcast. We made sure everybody was included.
Yeah,
and-
well, we had guys that wanted that. Listen, we
Yes.
had a little audio difficulty
Yes,
there for
sorry
a second.
about that.
And Brian Griffin, who's been one of our best supporters and one of the guys that's treated us like gold over at St. John's and welcomed us in to call a game and just done everything bent over backwards for us. He reached out and said, "Hey, look, you guys are out." And, not that we would be able to do anything about it, because I was thinking it was like some kid in purple, like unplugging back.
Yeah,
in.
right.
but
Exactly.
we gotta
We've been
give-
plugging each other for years. It would have been a strong move.
we got to give a shout out to our Automatic Sports guys, right?
Luke
absolutely.
David, Victor
Unbelievable.
Maddox,
Victor
our
and Luke, I mean-
production senseis, obviously. So first, we talk about First Amendment sports, and we talk about what makes it work and why it's even possible. It's not possible without the production side of the house. Luke and Victor are just crucial members of our team, and they did an amazing job making sure that what we put out was at a highest level. It's funny because people talk about the quality of it, and people say, like, that's high school. And so for us to put our name on the map, in order for people to know who we are and who the WCAC is at the highest possible level, the only way to tell this story is right. Yeah. And we asked Luke and Victor, put something out there that people are going to be happy to share, that people are going to want to watch, that's going to make them look good, it's going to make us look cool. We're in the car, with this whole big family. Steve Colantuni, commissioner of the WCAC, appreciate you. Your
Thanks, Steve,
vision
sir.
for the
Thank
conference
you.
is amazing.
Hey,
We're happy to
our
be part
meal
of
was
it.
a cheeseburger.
I don't remember. Exactly
We had a
right.
cheeseburger with some
broke
WCAC
bread.
guys. And next thing you know, we get to this point. Ed King treating us like
I like
gold during the
cheeseburgers.
day.
Thank you, Ed
Dropping
King.
down,
Matt
making sure
Rifkin
we're
also,
comfortable.
DeMatha.
Yeah, it was just this community is something special.
Yep.
And I think the whole world just caught a
The
glimpse
whole
of it.
world just watching.
Well, we saw
Shout
it.
out Tommy
We saw it
Ponton.
all
yeah.
day. From the minute we got there in the morning to cover the Metro Conference Championship, everybody couldn't be more gracious. Everybody couldn't want to help each other out more. Obviously, they want to be each other on the field. That happens. There are biases. There are loyalties. But at the end of the day, I mean, the way that they all came together and made the whole thing work.
What's cool
was
about
unbelievable.
this whole thing is that so we get together and we talk about games and we talk about plays. Did you see that guy make that play? Did you see that defensive stand? Did you see the way that coach called that third quarter? We've been doing that in the basement for 3 years. We're doing it high school, college, and pro, and we are certainly happy and beside ourselves to talk about X's and O's when we can, but also just to have fun and make it clear that it is fun, and this is the content we want to have fun covering. Yeah. This game took on a different life because the X's and O's, the playmaking, the highlight reel aspect of this game turned it into the spectacle of the WCAC, and that's the only reason why people are saying our name is because they are such a spectacle, and we happen to be lucky enough to be sitting on the field with a monitor and cameras pointed at them, that we get to be the lucky recipients of
Lucky.
the honor to tell the
Lucky
story.
is a great word. Honor, privilege to
Yes.
Hey.
be able to be the catalyst, the conduit to bring this to more people than can show up at Catholic University in person and watch something like that.
Yep. And I don't want to forget about Tony Johnson. All these ADs have treated us so well. Every coach in the league has graced us with their time during
ADs.
during the season.
During the season.
These guys have families, and I know specifically what it's like as a family with a coach's wife, and coach's kids. Those minutes are precious. Yeah. And for them to donate some of their precious time to what we're doing here at First Amendment, it just means a ton. I mean, forget about what happens on the field. That's secondary to what we're talking about with the type of men and women that we've dealt with in this conference that have reached out and given us their all. I mean, that's what makes it special, because I think they know we get it.
And
we
also
get it, man.
the story being told, us getting the opportunity to tell the story, is perfect for this conference, because there's something eternal about the WCAC. We're all from it. Anyone who's from it loves it. Anyone who knows. It's the old saying. Anyone who knows. And we all know. And so
27 years ago,
the
me and
community is gigantic.
Kevin and I went up against each other head to head
Yes.
in the WCAC.
Yes.
Back then, it was the Metro Conference Championship. So yes, we were well a part of it before 1991 as well.
Hey,
And
well,
it's-
my dad was the AD at St. John's in charge of basketball. I got to watch Lawrence Moten and Marvin Graves and Dave Creedle and
we
the whole.
won.
And I remember my dad introducing me with Moss Collins to Lawrence Moten, who I told my dad was like, to me, the end all be all.
Aye.
And he said to me, and this is why it comes from there. And Lawrence Moten said, "Someday you're going to play in the league." He wasn't talking about the NBA or the NFL.
Right.
He was talking about what we're covering right here, and I remember thinking like, I'm gonna, and I wanted to so bad. I would have done anything to have done that. Mostly because he said that. When you guys have heard me say the league forever, it's because the man who invented high socks, until I realized that maybe it might be Walt Williams, and we can figure that out. But this guy's from the WCAC, Lawrence Moten's High Socks, and when he said to me, "You gonna play in the league someday?" Yeah, he wasn't talking about going pro.
No.
No, sir.
I say too much. It's a thing I'm working on.
Hey.
Shout out Will Stoney. I want to tell you guys that, and I've never shared this before. When I was a kid, I want to say I was probably maybe 5 or 6 years old. My dad, Tom Marangolo, he was Tom Wright in high school. He was a
What up, Tom?
What up, Tom?
Our guest for the St. Mary's Riken.
Our guest
O'Connell
for the game, Hall of Fame, McNamara running back. He held records that stood well into my time at McNamara. When I was a kid, he took me to McNamara games, and I don't even remember what year it was, so I can't tell you what game it was. I just know it was at St. John's. It was McNamara St. John's, and my dad took me to it. And we got to play football at halftime on the field, which was awesome. I always thought that was awesome. And
You still do.
I still do.
Yes, you do.
I still do, Dad. But we left. I don't know why. We had somewhere to be. He was late. He had promised something to my mom. We're gonna be there. Blah blah blah. We gotta leave. We're walking out. We come around. And you have to tell me the name of the street. It's the wooded street on the backside of the field. Oregon
Avenue.
So we're coming out Oregon. Dude, come on. I went to Forestville, Keegan. We're coming out the back, and we're seeing everyone go crazy on that fence line. In the old days, before it was turf. Mm-hmm. So he pulls off, and we park, are basically almost hitting a tree, and he's like, "We got to get out."
Yeah, that's Rock Creek Park. There's nowhere to park.
He just pulls off, and he's like, "Get out of the car." And I'm like, "Okay." And we get out. We race around all the way around. McNamara had just taken the lead at the end, and all his buddies were going nuts. We went back just in time to see McNamara steal one, probably from St. John's. God knows what year it was. I wish I knew, and I'll find out at some point. And I'll never forget that. And it makes me think a little bit about this game. No one tuned out, no one left in Gonzaga DeMatha. But it was good till the last drop.
Yep. But I know one thing. We better start talking about the greatest high school football game that's ever been played.
All right, let's go, Kevin. Let's start on the DeMatha side if we can. But why don't you take us through it?
From A to Z, we could, but DeMarco Helms, through 3.5 quarters, put on what, in my estimation, was the greatest high school performance I've seen in a championship game. And then, shout out DeMarco Helms. And he did nothing else differently, but a young man named Caleb Williams might have topped that performance in that fourth quarter.
The scoreboard might tip that one, I think, at the end of the day, because I want DeMarco Helms on my team.
Yes. But let me just say this about the fourth quarter, and I think we might have a surprise guest coming in here that could specialize on that. But in the fourth quarter only, Caleb Williams was 8 of 15 for 186 yards and 2 touchdowns passing.
I had him on my fantasy team. I started him that day.
This is just the fourth quarter, mind you. He had 9 rushes for 50 yards and 2 touchdowns. And in the fourth quarter, Gonzaga ran 24 plays, 15 passes by Caleb Williams, and 9 rushes by Caleb Williams. No one else touched the ball rushing. And on the day, Caleb Williams was 13 of 29 for 359 yards and 3 touchdowns. He rushed the ball 19 times for 108 yards and 3 more touchdowns. Yeah. And he had a reception where he moonwalked into the back of the end zone off a Philly special that John Marshall threw. I mean, are you talking about one of the greatest?
I need to interrupt this show for just
surprise,
Hey, come on in here, Coach.
Randy Trivers,
hey,
WCAC Capital Division trophy. Come on in, Randy.
That is awesome, Coach.
That is great. He's got the trophy. It's like carrying the cup.
Basement.
Good job,
He's
Coach.
in the basement.
Congratulations. Awesome job. Have you slept? Have you taken a second off? It was cold out there, but he's got his purple,
he's
though.
getting comfortable, guys.
He's got his purple
He's
on.
getting comfortable.
I love it.
He's
Coach
gonna
Randy
settle in and
Trivers,
talk about this.
head coach. It's perfect timing, too. We're bringing you in, Coach. We're just getting to the nitty-gritty, what happened, on that field. We're talking about players from all different spots.
Specifically, Caleb Williams at the moment.
Can I ask a couple of first questions? Because I have to do this quick interview on 106.7 The Fan.
Coach, come sit down right here.
Oh, you're going to give him the big chair?
He's going to get the big comfy chair.
Do you mind if I just get a couple of questions in before I go? 106.7
Yes.
The Fan is calling. I've actually put him on hold a couple of times. They want to talk about
Go
the
ahead,
game
Andy-
too.
Andy can wait.
Andy Poland, I'm so sorry. Hold on.
She's coming, Andy. She'll be there.
Let's rearrange. This basement
Randy
is
Trivers-
transformable.
Can I just start by telling you?
Keep the trophy in front. I don't care if it blocks
We'll
me or
get to
T.
the game.
I
We're
care
going
if
to
it blocks
start
you,
at the
T.
end. We're going to go backwards. But that celebration, okay? The celebration, we go, game ends. We're in shock. Nobody's moving, right? I did 8 laps looking for you to try to get you on with us. These guys were stalling, right? You were stalling.
His lawyers were keeping him away from you this
8
week.
laps. 8 laps looking for you. I heard the reason I didn't find you is because you were face down, collapsed on the field in shock yourself. Is that true? Do you even remember the moment?
It's hard to remember everything that went on, and there were flashes of things that were happening. Of course, it was bedlam. Pandemonium.
bedlam.
It was pretty wild, for sure. And it's funny that you have a few days now, and you hear some of the different stories. Everybody kind of has their own story of after the catch. What they did, whether it was somebody in the stands,
Kind of like, where were you
somebody
when?
in the car,
Yeah.
someone at home watching, the sideline, the other sideline, behind the fence here, there, as we try to recover artifacts, whether it be headsets, helmets,
Oh, yes.
balls, things of that nature. How did what?
You can find them on eBay right now. If you're missing anything, I'm sure they're on eBay.
Yes,
by the way.
no, it's pretty amazing, and the when something like that happens, and the sort of the myriad of emotions that are going through one at that particular time, and just to sort of watch some of the different video and just see the reaction and response of so many people. I know that for me it was very emotional in the sense that we have made a tremendous put in a tremendous amount of work, and not to diminish what anybody else does in their occupation and their job and their whether it be high school football or anything. I just know that our journey, what it has been since the day that I've been a part of Gonzaga and the head coach, and it's been an arduous one, to get to that point, and then to have it come to fruition in that fashion. Of course, it was very emotional.
So yes or no, were you laid down flat on the ground for a while?
I don't know.
Or were
if
laid
I was
out?
up
Were you
in
one of the guys that
clouds
got
in
hit
front
by
of
the players as they
Do
came
you
running
remember-
through?
Do you,
That
did you lose time?
Listen,
because
that was one of our assistant coaches.
Yes.
Conrad Singh.
Was that Conrad?
Conrad get laid out?
Conrad
it's
in a full
it's-
sprint towards the
Yes.
the students.
Was it
section.
Joette that got him?
No. It was John O'Toole.
Was it- okay.
Was a 285-pound.
Yes.
He's a senior.
offensive lineman.
flattened.
You don't have to worry
He
about
got
that
flattened.
anymore.
Fellas, it was WWE style.
my God.
It was like a combination of
The first thing my son
clothesline,
said, Coach,
You
was like,
were
who's that
saying-
guy?
the
You were
rock
telling
bottom.
Conrad.
Laid out.
Oh my gosh!
You were
and it's
telling
just-
Conrad to
Hey,
be careful about
That's
the
the
way he
special
does stuff.
teams coordinator. We all know that there was a kickoff return that happened right before that pass.
Certainly.
So you can imagine the level
Yes.
of emotion he was feeling.
Of course.
But we all sat and talked about the level of emotion that was happening right here. And those last 5 minutes, you can't imagine, and you've watched a lot of football games, when the announcers think that they know what's going on. Boy, you got an onside kick here, right? Oh, you have
Oh,
to. You
well.
can't run the ball anymore, right?
Yeah.
The reason why I think you were so emotional afterwards is the amount of emotional energy it took for you to maintain the level of patience you did in that last 5 minutes. You stuck to the game plan, Coach. And I think your patience that you've shown in those last 5 minutes, all young coaches, any coach could learn from. You stuck to the game plan. Your team wound up winning it. You did not onside kick. You did not just go to the air. In fact, you ran the ball. I mean, we were sitting there going like, ho, ho, ho. And I said it to you after the game, and you probably don't remember, but I said, your patience, I'll never forget. Congratulations.
Thank you. I mean, it's we try our best to prepare for every situation in these moments. So, and then we also prepare, and we prepare technically, schematically, but also emotionally and psychologically. Okay, so in our program we have something that we have these values that we stand on in our program. All right, and we have an acronym called NEF, Now Embrace Finish. And, so our word of the week, a couple weeks ago when we were triumphant against St. John's in the semifinals, it was all about the moment, staying in the moment now, okay? So this game, I think one of my former players said to me, that was the embodiment of NEF, what you guys did. So you're talking about the last 5 minutes. The idea of us being able to flush what just happened down the toilet and put it behind us. It's very important. And when you think about what happened, you said the kickoff return. All right, we have to be able to stay in the moment. And then we are not afraid, okay, of challenges. All right, so if you didn't recognize the week before when you guys interviewed me, I didn't look like a man that was intimidated or afraid, did I? And our team is not that. The boys and the coaches, the way that we train, the way that we prepare for these things. We talk about the idea of embracing. So you cannot determine the circumstances that are happening around you, whether it be the weather, whether it be how somebody else is acting or reacting to what you do. All you can do is focus on, and we say, embracing, all right, the circumstances, no matter what they are. We are going to have our attitude, all right? And not only we embrace the circumstances, if it's raining, we're going to love it. If it's windy, we're going to love it. We're going to be triumphant, but also embracing one another, all right? So there is a love that we have for each other. And then we talk about finish, all right? So the idea of finish is simply, if there's time on the clock, we are going to fight, all right? So there is absolutely no other way that we know than to empty our tank, all right? And we teach our guys this from the very first time that I get with them. And I will tell you a true story, all right? So 2014 is the first year that I was the head coach of Gonzaga. We had the stadium was being renovated, so we had no field. So our very first practice took place at none other than Catholic University.
Wow.
All right? And so the first sideline that we took happened to be that visitor sideline at Catholic, when I lined these boys up in shorts, all right, and just to work out at Catholic. The first thing I teach them is, everybody stay on the sideline, all right, and I want you to get in, every 5 yards, and you're going to line up in, no deeper than 6 guys per line. And I say, okay, the first line, I'm going to blow the whistle, and I want you guys to run to the hash, the first hash. I'll blow the whistle the next line, run to the first hash. And I know what's going to happen. What's going to happen is half of the guys are going to run to the hash. Another quarter of them are going to run almost to the hash and slow down. And then another quarter of them are really going to slow down about halfway and get to the hash. And that's when I teach them, this is how we finish, okay? This is how we finish. So it's ingrained in everything that we do in our program, this idea of now, embrace, finish. This is not it's not just the word we threw out there one time. It's not something we talk about. It's something that we live, all right? So when you say, Coach, you had patience, or your players fought hard, they never gave up. This is not an accident. This is something that we preach, that we teach, that we live. And these are not things that happen just on the football field. See, these are things that happen in life. They're real. And so, when you hear me talk, you heard me talk after that game 2 weeks ago, all right, that was real. All right, that was real.
Oh, yeah.
It was raw.
Oh, yeah.
It was.
And
I loved it. I went in for a hug, and then I loved it. I want to say, you talk about preparing and finishing, right? And I know you prepared just the day before that game for a Hail Mary. Just that situation.
how do you know that?
I just know.
Oh,
How
we
do you
do.
know that?
We do know.
I know.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble, but he went to
you
Hampton, Sydney, and he's on the coaching staff.
Joe Rade also said it on
Yeah, he also
on
said it on
Saban's show.
said it on the radio.
And on the radio by,
All right, so here's the deal.
So, but I still want to know. I know you practice it, and of course that's the right thing to do. But to see it completed in your guys' hands, and I want to know what words, what thoughts were going through your head right at that.
We're on the internet, so it's okay.
It's
Yeah.
not. It's certainly not a high percentage play, right? All right, but we do prepare for that situation. So, I have generally 47 scripted plays that we will run the day before the game. All right, so play number 44 is always the penultimate. All right, that's the play that we run that we know if we can't get into the range to toss the Hail Mary pass, we run the penultimate. So, and we know that if we have a certain amount of time, that we have time for 2 plays. And of course, it was 10 seconds. We knew we had time for 2. All right, so we ran the penultimate. And then the Hail Mary is always play 45 in the 47-play script. All right, so we run the Hail Mary. All right, now
Coach,
let me tell you.
Is it easier to call Hail Mary when you have a guy who can throw it 70 yards in the air?
Yes.
Does that make it a little bit easier?
Let me, no question. All right, but this is a great story because the night before the game, okay, we are practicing at Catholic University, okay, and we're on play 45, and I say to Caleb, I'm standing about 10 yards in front of the offense, and I point to my arm, and I say, "Are you good?" All right, because most times we throw it, but there have been a couple days before the game where, the arm's a little, we don't want to throw the arm out. He says, "Coach, I'm great, I'm good," So we throw it, all right? And guess what, guys? We were practicing it going towards the same end zone that we did it in the game. And there are any number of guys that can catch it, 4 guys. All right, but guess who catches it the night before the game? John Marshall.
Has to be.
Okay, John Marshall. So we throw it the exact same place, in the exact same direction. All right,
68 yards in the air. By the way, shout out to John Marshall. We said it about Latrell Palmer.
68. That would have landed at 73.
It would have, at least.
But I'm saying caught at.
It was a 53-yard touchdown that was
Yes.
thrown in the air 70 yards.
Okay, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
That's a fact. From the 40, it was caught in the back of the end zone about 8 yards deep.
Yeah,
If it wasn't caught, it would have landed outside
But
of
I
the end zone.
just want to get through my shout out to John Marshall because we were talking about Latrell before in the show before. We were also talking about Joe Wynn going to the service academies.
The choice between Army and Navy.
Choice between Army and Navy, and I don't want all shows. I'll say it till I'm blue in the face. The fact that these WCAC players go to service academies blows me away. I call it. I say it over and over again. This is the greatest jersey in the world. The stars and bars. I said it on the air. Who do you want? Who would you rather have? Wearing that awesome jersey. How about a guy like John Marshall? I didn't mean to totally derail the story, but I'm just saying that kid inspires people, inspires us, and the fact that he's going to Annapolis, it makes me feel pretty darn good.
Yeah, no, John Marshall's a heck of a football player, and they're getting a heck of a football player. But he's a fantastic person. All right, he's a great young man, and in a great family, and of course, John is it will always be linked to history. At Gonzaga, as the guy that made the catch.
But not just that, Coach.
Around the world.
He brought you back into the game. When Gonzaga was up against it, Caleb was throwing it up there, and he was targeting number 14, and 14 was making the play, and he did it in a classy way, Coach. He was staying in bounds. He was twisting his body. He was doing it in traffic with contact, guys hanging on him. I mean, how proud can you be of a guy who just goes out there and says, guess what? It's my ball.
Yeah, no, John is he's talented, and he's he's got great belief in what he can do on the field, but it takes more than himself, so that ball's coming from a player that can put it there, and then that player that can put it there is being protected by the guys up front. And
the protection was fantastic.
It's a very collective effort, but no question, down 20 early, 14 made some nice catches to really get us cooking again, but there was never any panic.
No.
I promise you that. We just we stay focused on the moment, and I'll say this, DeMath is a heck of a.
I was just going to ask you a question about that, Coach. You're coming into a championship week. You've just come off one of the greatest victories for not just your program, but for the Gonzaga faithful. You beat a classy, uber talented St. John's program on their field in a year when people weren't necessarily picking you to do it. You come to Catholic in a championship game against a DeMatha team that people are loving because of their athleticism because of the lore of their program and because of their
And number
ability.
one.
And number one and number
Michael
two.
Helms, yeah.
Number one and number two. And so you believe in yourselves, and you're going to let the moment be bigger than you, and you're going to go do what you do. But as a coach, can you talk a little bit about what your thought process was facing some of these just amazing kids in blue?
Yeah, I mean, you said it very well. I mean, DeMatha is super talented. They've got great, tradition, and I think that team has been building in their confidence all year. I think, the program, just from an outsider's perspective, they've always been strong. They've always been, a program that has a proud tradition of excellence. And the year ago, they lost a lot of close games. People look at them and say, DeMatha's fallen off and, they're not what they used to be. Just one year where they struggled a little bit. But if you really looked at it, they were right there in all their games.
That's
I mean,
what
they
we're
were
saying.
right there. They're still very, very, very strong. And I'm sure that they were, believing that and telling themselves that. And so they come out this year. And, I think they had a tough loss against Aquinas, right?
Aquinas, yes.
Early.
Yeah.
If you're in that DeMatha program, you're just, the hope I would think at that time is, wait a minute, let's get it together and get this thing rolling and not have a season like we had a year ago. And, of course, they started getting that thing rolling. And you could just sense as you watch them play, I felt like it's a program and a team that's gaining more and more confidence in the way they're playing and playing better and better and better every week. They were, as tough an opponent as you could ask for, coming into the championship game, because I really felt like, their game against St. John's could have gone either way.
Yeah.
Really could have.
And you knew what DeMarco Helms was capable of doing. You knew what Marshawn Lord was capable of doing. What really stood out to me, also Jermaine Johnson had a heck of a game.
He was awesome.
But what stood out to me the most was Eric Najarian. I think that young man came out and had the best game of his career.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'd never seen him kind of take a game over like that and make the plays that he played. It was phenomenal to see, especially as a DeMatha alum.
Yeah.
And you talk about programs, the traditional programs, and once again, our shout-outs are all over the map tonight. One thing we have learned, Coach, over the last 3 weeks of covering, your game against St. John's, covering O'Connell and St. Mary's, and then covering the championship, is how many parents are watching us because their kids are played, because they went to the schools, because they have kids who play other sports. So I just want to shout out to all the parents. I know any coach worth his salt understands the value of the parents and what they bring to the equation. And I know the Gonzaga community is no exception. We saw that in mass, and we've seen it since. But I just don't want to let it go and let football season go. We're going to talk about basketball moms and dads. We're going to talk about lacrosse families. We're going to talk about it all. But football is a special thing. You can't do this without that whole family. And you guys got it great in that regard. But so many WCAC schools do.
Yeah. No, it's when you're talking about the commitment of a football family, it's a commitment. In terms of travel. A lot of times, the WCAC schools, these are not neighborhood schools, where everybody's coming to, from around the corner. You can walk to school or take the yellow cheese, It's, some of these families are coming to Gonzaga. They're on the train, they're on the metro, they're picking up their kids at this time or that time. The parents are fantastic, when it comes to their support for their young men to be able to balance the academics, to be able to do all the football preparation physically. You need great parents to be able to support these young men and have them ready and prepared to go out there and play. So no doubt our parents in our program do a tremendous job of all the little things behind the scenes to make our program run. We're not just a team, but a program. So, kudos, shout out to the parents. I'm with you on that, my man.
Before we get back to the game and some of the nitty-gritty of the game, you're speaking of parents. We saw a wonderful moment that you were able to have with your dad. Just talk about what that was like and the significance and the emotion that you had being able to share that with your dad.
Yeah, part of the emotion, you say, man, where was he after the game? So there's a lot of feelings going through me, at that time. And, first, the young men that I coach, I love them. Okay, and people that know me and know the way I coach, it's real. I love these guys, there's a little bit of a backstory as far as the moment when my father after the game is, first of all my career in football, my father has been, number one right there for me. All right. And all of you guys that you were talking about parents and, so it's always great to see the parent support, but my father was diagnosed with cancer in 2014, all right, shortly after I took the job at Gonzaga. And a very, very severe form, right, where that October during the season he had a very intense operation, which was followed by 2 more minor operations. But his spleen was taken, his kidney, part of his stomach, three organs plus were taken out of his body. But he, from that point, around 2015 to this past spring, he was free of cancer.
Oh, wow.
Amen.
That's awesome. Amen to that.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
So, and he was on the field there.
awesome.
And he had another, was diagnosed again this past spring, 2018, that the cancer has returned. So we tried to have another surgery done with the same surgeon, Dr. Paul Lynn, fantastic doctor. There's so much there that it would have been too invasive. It would have been, I don't know, he would have been able to wake up from the surgery. But,
Sure.
But I will tell you this, all right, and this is a true story. Before my man goes into surgery, all right, my siblings, my mom, we're giving him hugs and kisses, and the last thing he says is, I know I'm going to come out of this strong because God wants me to still have moments and times with my grandchildren, and he wants me to see Gonzaga win the WCAC championship.
That's great.
Oh, man.
So, and of
Even
course-
this Mustang can appreciate it.
Yes,
Right? And,
absolutely.
I mean, that's
so-
great, dude. That's
So when I embraced my dad at the end of that game, that's emotional, right?
Yeah.
'Cause that's my number one guy, and for him to be able to be there in person and see that, and I know how happy he was. I know what that means to him. So personally for me, that meant a lot to get that victory.
family of the
awesome.
program. Family. We talked about it before the second segment before. It's not just the family of the players. It's families of the coaches. It's families. It's all in.
Not only did he get to see you guys win the title, but they're going to talk about this game as the greatest high school football game.
It's the greatest high school football game ever
It's
played.
Well, I'm about to tell you why it is.
Yeah.
There's a couple things that happened. 4 touchdowns for you guys in the last 6 minutes. 35 points combined. 25 were Gonzaga's in the fourth quarter. There was over 1,000 yards of offense. 89 points. To put it in perspective, that's more yards than last night's Rams-Chiefs game.
Yes.
Everyone was talking about. And more points per minute, considering the NFL plays 15-minute quarters and
Yep.
we play 12 here in the WCAC. With a walk-off and 3 lead changes and 3 touchdowns in the final 29 seconds. There's a game in 1994 between John Tyler and Plano East. If you Google greatest high school football game ever, you'll see it. I did my research.
Okay.
I checked it out. The level of product that we witnessed on Sunday night in Northeast DC
Superior.
was far superior, and that was a crazy game. There were 7 touchdowns, 3 onside kick recoveries, and blah blah blah. But there was about 9,000 missed tackles on that, and the guys tackling on defense on Sunday night, like I said, double-digit guys going to Power 5 schools from both sides, Gonzaga and DeMatha. There's just no chance that when you're on campus with the Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, that there was a Hail Mary answered at Catholic University between a championship between 2 teams in the Catholic League, and from a guy who went to Catholic University, it just seemed like none of this was done by accident.
And we have nothing but we at First Amendment Sports. We love and respect Texas high school football. There's pockets in Ohio that are deserving of at that level. Southern California, Florida. There are places where you can find a high brand of high school football, but there's no conference as deep as the WCAC where you're going to see a game like this. You can see it in the regular season, if we're being honest, because that's the teams that play each other in this conference, and we are spreading the word to all those other places, to the folks in Plano. I mean, it's just not the
Are you
same.
setting the stage for a possible First Amendment sports like conference versus conference game, like season opener?
They don't want.
I think we got this.
They don't want this smoke.
I think we got
They
this.
don't want this.
Anybody wants to
They don't
challenge?
want this.
We'll take it on. We'll put it all together.
Coach, so
You done? You done doing all your interviews?
yeah, here. Hey,
I was just on 106.7 The Fan.
Okay.
And I told them everything that
all right.
was going on.
Live
here.
reporting
So
from
I
the
just
podcast.
told 106.7 The Fan, all the listeners to come on and listen to.
You just
Nice.
sideline reported our basement
I just-
podcast.
You just told all of Andy's listeners
unbelievable.
to come listen to us.
You never
Basically,
stop
you
it.
just
You
did.
never stop.
And as I said First Amendment Sports
Yeah.
YouTube page, right?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, real fast, shameless. One thing. It's very important for us. If you watch our show, if you go to First Amendment Sports YouTube page, be a subscriber. It's free.
free.
You don't have to watch anything
free.
ever again. But it helps us out. It really does. It helps us out a lot. We bring you as much amazing content as we possibly can. When we get a chance to talk about the WCAC, we cover the Redskins. We talk about the college and pro teams and all sports. We think DC is a great sports town, and if you're a subscriber to First Amendment Sports, you will watch content that lends itself to the conversation that DC is a great sports town.
The stuff you want to hear, the stuff that you
Yes.
talk about yourself, the stuff that you talk about with your family, your friends, at a bar, whatever. That's what we do here.
Help us out.
1.5 million.
Yes. Oh, by the way, you'll be only joining another over 1.2 million people now who have watched First Amendment sports content. And by the way, Coach, we said it before you were here, so we want to make sure I just want to make sure I repeat it because we totally understand. We're in the back seat of this car, we're backseat podcasting from the basement, as it were. We get to be in the end zone and be on here for the ride. We're telling the story. It's a great story to tell. Deserves to be told. We're honored to tell it.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm very happy to be a part of this story.
Oh man.
Sure.
I bet
Two
you
more
are.
Oh, yes,
questions, 'cause I
come
stepped
on.
away, and I hope
Of
these
course
aren't
we do.
repeats.
We've already told all the good. We've already asked all the good ones. But go ahead.
Okay.
You can try.
The one that I want to ask, and I kind of get a little. I mean, someone cutting onions in here when I think about that. The moment with your dad
Yes.
on the field. Did you talk
Yes.
about it?
Yes.
I stole
You got,
it. I'm
yeah,
sorry.
He stole it
That's
from
okay.
you.
I
And
stole
was-
it. You were with Andy.
I was right there, and I saw. I knew it was a moment. I thought it was just a father-son moment. How is he feeling?
He's in the clouds right now.
Yeah.
You know, so I think I don't even think he took an automobile home. He was so fired up. I think he was sprinting.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, he's feeling great. He's feeling great, and I appreciate you asking. But
Give him our best.
yes.
And then my other question, and maybe this is also a repeat, but having to, the challenge going forward of, the hype that will surround the team, and Caleb Williams and all the attention he's getting, and the challenge that presents you as the coach. Is that a repeat?
No. Oh, please.
Did you? What do you?
I wanna know the
Have
answer
you
to
even
this.
started to think about coaching after a moment like this in their career, and how it will change the way you can coach them, or if it will at all?
Well, unfortunately, the way that I am built is that I tend to plan, prepare, and work probably more than I should. Celebrate and embrace and relax and enjoy what has happened in the past. And so I've tried to tell myself the last couple of days, and having been in part of different successful situations and looking back and saying, man, I wish I could have enjoyed that a little bit more. So I'm going to, for certain.
Any way we can help, Coach, because we've got that market cornered.
We've been enjoying it, by the way.
I'm
going to enjoy it for a long time.
Yes.
More.
I want to really, my lovely wife and my 2 sons, they deserve a husband and father for some quality time, and particularly at this time for Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
And I'm going to give them my very, very best.
Awesome.
And my dad, my mom, all these folks that have been steadfast in their support of me. I want to make sure that I coach myself very hard to focus and concentrate as best I can to be a great son and brother and uncle and father and husband. And then but in my moments where my concentration may wane a little bit from that, I do think about a little bit about the next steps, because the buck stops with me, and if I'm not thinking about the next steps, then who is, and life goes on, things must continue. So as we say in our program, Neff, we can't live in the past for too long, right? But there's balance too. It's important to have balance in life, and for me, I hope that I can. It's always a challenge, but I hope that I can achieve good balance over the next several days and weeks in terms of being able to enjoy what just taken place that we worked so hard for. Also being able to, and appreciate and to try to remember some of these great things, and try to, but also really I've got to do a great job of being the what I care most about, and that's my family, my wife, and my children. And
Priorities.
That's absolutely correct and fantastic. But what just happened here this spring, Coach? They brought what they call the Stanley Cup around. So I'm thinking that this bad boy right here might need a little work done before it gets put into a trophy case for eternity.
The trophy case
gonna
in the
need a little
basement.
dink, a dunk, a chip, a something, a fall, or whatever.
Before it goes behind glass.
Yeah. So just promise us before it goes, and it's there for they'll never stop talking about this one. We know that.
Yeah.
Never.
1.2. It's probably about 1.3 now.
Yep.
Because that's what's been happening for 48 hours.
This baby, that's what is kind of like the Stanley Cup. It came with me to my English class today.
Good.
It came through the cafeteria and the commons of the school, and it came with me through different buildings. So it's taking a tour.
We saw you with the ninja grip on it after the game, and you were walking around looking at it. It was like you weren't fumbling that thing.
Yep. No, we had it high and tight.
And I'm assuming it's going to make its way to the smoker on Wednesday night. And I'll tell you what, can I give you some advice? Wear a helmet. that place is going to be on fire.
I can't imagine.
I
can't imagine.
That place is going to be nuts.
Yep. And this baby's going to be with us at the smoker. Yep.
Let me real fast before we close out tonight's episode. I can't let you get away. We talk about the fraternity and family of the WCAC. We've had every coach in the Capitol, and we've had other coaches as well join us on this show. We found out after talking to one of them that you and Andy Stefanelli
were
up? Neighbors growing up.
That's crazy.
Next door neighbors. We're talking about 2 out of 5 coaches in the WCAC were next door neighbors with each other. We thought that's amazing.
He gave your dad and your brother a huge shout out. And he was like, "Man, this is
that."
that's crazy."
That's amazing.
Andy's a great guy.
Yes.
And great family, and literally, some people say they were neighbors, or and you're talking a couple miles, or you say, "Oh, it's next door," but really they're 3 or 4 houses down. Literally
next door neighbors.
His house is to the right of mine. And literally
Walkie-talkies, flashlights, and playbooks. I'm thinking.
Yeah. So.
Capture the flag.
And he's a great dude. And
Shout out to good
That's
counsel.
so cool. That's one of those. That's one of those WCAC wrinkles.
It is.
That only gets unfolded in the basement.
In the basement,
my
we
man.
come to find
Right
out.
here on
I hadn't
Cincinnati
heard that
Sports.
before. And again, just to make sure, the good counsel folks are awesome viewers and followers of us, and we appreciate all you guys out in Olney.
And this wasn't only, right, Coach?
This is in
Springbrook.
Silver Spring.
Yeah,
Silver Spring. Cool,
Silver
cool,
Spring.
cool.
Well, I think that I want to lead the charge here in congratulating Coach Trivers on just an absolutely amazing job.
Historical.
Well deserved.
Historical. Yep.
An amazing team. Carol, you got what you wanted to?
This may be another. Have you watched much of the footage in the post game and your Hail Gonzaga? Have you watched that stuff yet?
Not much.
You
no,
haven't seen the
no.
footage
I mean,
yet?
I've seen a few highlights. That they're playing on ESPN and seen a few of those things. And
That's our
yes,
stuff.
yes. And
Your Hail Gonzaga speech at the post game was great. Okay, we'll send it to you.
And the student section, you see the student section saying the Hail Mary and on Amen. John Marshall
see that.
catches it.
Yes.
Oh, my
Yes.
God, you got to be kidding
amazing.
me.
Yeah, I got to deal
Hey,
with
listen,
Jeff Clay
we
for a long
pray at the
time.
Matha
Jeff
too.
Clay.
We pray at the Matha too. Okay, all right.
Of course.
Go ahead.
Question. Because everyone it is God purple, and they're saying the Hail Mary, and as someone who's been around sports, I've tried to keep religion. It's a separation of church and sports, right? And any time like Kurt Warner or any athlete was going to talk, use. And Bradley Beal does it. He always, respectfully, and I'm not judgy but if I can, I try not to use that because I want to be respectful of all the viewers. But this is Catholic in Gonzaga. It was a Catholic league, and there's all this, and it just seemed like there was a higher power, at work here.
Oh,
And
yes.
I don't know, whatever you believe, a football god or whatever. It just seemed like a higher power, and I was wondering your thoughts on if that has crossed your mind, and like it was destiny or it was meant to be or someone upstairs working for you or whatever.
Hey, you remember a couple of weeks ago? It's faith and love. Faith and love.
Faith,
All right.
hope.
Yeah, faith, hope.
Faith and love.
Oh,
All right, so
hope.
is that's all you need to know?
And bench
Right?
pressing Carol Maloney.
It was the best.
It was
the
was
best.
amazing.
That was great.
It
If
was
we,
the best.
if we were better at our jobs, you would have been on SportsCenter's top 10 that night.
Yeah,
so
right,
we let
right,
you
right,
down,
right,
Coach.
Right.
Appreciate the hot
I
leads.
apologize to
Yes.
the Gonzaga community for not being up to bringing at least my B+ game beforehand. You guys brought your A+ game.
Hilarious.
I want to say thank you to everybody who has joined us tonight, everyone who's been joining us every week now for going on a couple years now, covering the greatest high school sports conference in the land. We think there's a story worth telling, and it's a positive one, and I'm happy to do it with this team. He's Kevin Ricca.
Hey, I want to thank the kids. They put on a class act display of exactly what it is on both sides of the field. The reason why we're there, the reason why it all counts, the reason why it matters, the most important factor of all of it is the young men. And wow, did we have better young men than anyone in the nation has had in a very long time on Sunday night.
She's Carol Maloney.
I want to thank Coach Trivers for coming into the basement.
Yes.
Bringing the trophy, the football, this great spirit, and really the time. We know everyone has been asking for your time lately, so thanks for giving it to the basement, boys.
We are very thankful. He's Tim Strachan.
Yeah, and along the lines of the kids, I just want to say it again. Couldn't be more proud to be a DeMatha alum during the game, after the game, today. Keep your heads high, gentlemen. You did a great job. Elijah, you did a great job. It's not always about the result. It's about the journey. You guys, you did a great job this year. You learned a lot. And congratulations to Gonzaga for being the victor. And thank you for being here. And thank you for allowing us to be a part of all this stuff. Thank you, Steve. Thank you, WCAC. Thank you, all the fans and everybody who's been paying attention.
2018 WCAC Capital Division champion, winning head coach, Gonzaga College Purple Eagles, Coach Randy Trivers.
Nice.
Thank you for having me on. And I want to thank you guys for what you are doing in covering WCAC athletics and these young men. And it is an
women.
area full of talent and full of good people doing good things. And I want to say this, to be the champion of this league, it's not worth a whole lot if you don't have worthy opponents and worthy competition. And, so hats off to the other WCAC schools, in particular DeMatha and Coach Brooks, for, just good, strong, healthy competition. And that's what allows us to amp up each other's games and really make each other better, quite frankly. So, my appreciation and with this being Thanksgiving, thankful for all of you here and for all of us in this area to have the quality of ball that we're able to have. Thank you all for this opportunity, and I appreciate it.
From maroon and gold Mustang all the way over to a purple eagle. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Congratulations. Happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
We will be back in a week from now on Tuesday night, continuing to talk about the greatest high school sports conference in the land.
Are we going to get invited to some Gonzaga holiday parties?
Yeah,
That's a possibility. I got to get
to
a new
all my
outfit,
friends,
though.
and then there's a lot
I
of
get styled up for these ones.
I can't. Pat Judge James, man. I mean, I could go down the list. We all have a million friends who went to Gonzaga because that's what this conference is all about. Please enjoy yourselves tomorrow night at the Smoker. It's going to be amazing.
Wear a helmet.
Wear a helmet. Have fun. You earned
Knights
it.
of
You
Columbus.
deserve
I'm behind the slab tomorrow night, just
Yes.
in case anyone's curious.
In case anyone's not going back.
Oh, well, I had to.
Oh,
Sorry.
God. Enjoy the holidays. Enjoy talking about this with people who may actually still not know. Teach them. Until next Tuesday, I'm Ken Marangolo. On behalf of First Amendment Sports, this was the WCAC Spectacular.